Now is Dr. Eric Mandel, Director of the Middle East Political and Information Network. Eric, thank you for joining me on what is a significant morning in the United Kingdom and indeed, of course, in America. Ben Leo rhetorically posed the question just then, what's changed? Well, as we now have a memorandum of understanding with the Strait of Hormuz being reopened, again, it was open prior to the conflict, with a lack of certainty around what this means for the nuclear program and for the Iranian proxies in the Middle East. I guess I've got to pose that same question to you now. What's changed?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Vice President Vance in the last hour said, "We have solved the problem, the Middle East problem. Quote, we have achieved something great." And I had to pause a little bit. And I think what we need to think about is describing the memorandum of understanding, even using the word a peace agreement, I think reflects a fundamental misunderstanding of what this MOU is, this deal is, and of the revolutionary Islamist regime with which it has been made. There's going to be 4 areas of disagreement between the U.S. and Iran concerning what this agreement says. It's going to be on the nuclear file, the Straits of Hormuz, frozen assets, and on Lebanon. And the big question is going to be who will verify, and will the president have the stomach, the will, to enforce the inevitable Iranian cheating? And the Iranians are betting that the president will not go back to war, especially as it gets closer to the midterm elections. And if that's true, Iran has leverage, despite it being military weaker than any time since at least the Iran-Iraq war. And they've already used that leverage to tie Hezbollah to the Iran agreement, this MOU, and that has really constrained Israel. And Israel, for its part, it's not a party to this, but it fears that there are no ballistic missile restrictions. And that is what Israel feels. If we remember, in December 2025, Bibi Netanyahu went to Mar-a-Lago and was given permission to strike the ballistic missiles, which they were producing 100 to 150 a month, which could have led to an existential threat. If that's not part of this, then that means there's going to be a war sooner than later. The Israelis feel the Chinese are going to sell ballistic missile production machinery to the Iranians. And then it gets to what the Gulf states. The Gulf states are worried. They're worried because that America abandoned them, and they now have to acquiesce to a very powerful and strong Iran, at least in their perception. So we're dealing with a situation now where everybody, and I've been watching and monitoring all the mainstream media, are talking about the word peace, and they're talking about all type of things that are going to happen and inevitably flow. But I am much, much more skeptical for American national security interests.
You mentioned the potential fears from Israel in the wake of this memorandum of understanding. What is the possibility that potentially there is a rift or a split that will open up between the United States and a president who appears to want to get a deal done as quickly as possible for economic and political reasons, and Israel, who I imagine just wants to get the job done?
Well, I've been embedded with troops 10 times over the last 2.5 years on the Lebanese border. And I can tell you that the Israeli civilians of the north who have been targeted by Hezbollah are not happy with this deal. Because if you're not able to control your whole country and prevent it from being attacked, then what kind of country are you? And United States, if Mexico is lobbying missiles into Dallas or El Paso or San Diego, even if it didn't hurt anybody, we would be attacking back. So I think the Israelis are worried that they may feel abandoned, and that if Israel, if whether Iran strikes them or Hezbollah strikes them, they must, for deterrence, respond. And could that, as you say, breach the relationship between Trump and Netanyahu? There is certainly that fear. It's definitely the fear in Israel, and it's related to things that are developing right now in the United States. Israel and the United States are developing a memorandum of understanding, the next phase of a partnership, not a one-way street of research and development. And if Israel has to respond to Hezbollah and the president's angry, will that affect the security arrangement? There's a lot of unknowns here, and the Israelis are fearful.
Dr. Eric Mandel, thank you very much for joining me this morning.